All right, welcome back to Greedo's Gold Mine, your most bipolar toy show on all the interwebs. Today, we're going to do full review for Star Wars Vintage The Collection 2-pack, at least as much as we've gone to open it so far. What are we looking at today? The Bluurg and Mandalorian set. So this is going back to pre-full Silver Beskar armor Mando. We love Mandalorian stuff in this household. My kids and I have always watched it together as a bonding point, as well as in addition to what our collection comprises of. Most of, short of like that Boba Fett Slave One up there and such, of the vintage collection stuff we get is for them because they actually prefer the smaller scale to the 6-inch scale, Marvel Legends being the exception because it's really just one scale. But so we get the vintage collection for them, and especially Mandalorian stuff, and they really love their creatures, etc. And who would pass on a Bluurg for as a kid like that, if you're into Mandalorian lizards, creatures, and making all kinds of fun, imaginative storylines, mixing figures. So, the Bluurg it was. And it happened to come with a Mandalorian too, so why not? And so you get it in a box like this, basically. We already opened it at this point, so ended the 60-second review. It's kind of an inverted sort of day on this. But inside you get basically cardboard, and you're gonna have to cut it out, but the body of the Bluurg itself is here. There are 2 legs, an arm, and then this little pouch that has the harness in it. Basically the Bluurg itself is a Build-A-Figure, and you see there's a cutout, and that cutout is where Mandalorian is placed in his package, and so we have our Mandalorian still in box. We didn't feel the need to open that. We may or may not, but we'll check it out anyway right here. It's got him riding on the Bluurg, which is pretty awesome. Basic updates to this Mandalorian, as far as I understand, are it's got the upgraded hips for a vintage collection, so it allows for better sitting poses and moving such like that. And it's got a brown cloth goods cape, but for now we're just gonna keep him right there in the package. But you can take a look real quick. Trying to get the glare down as best I can in the back. And it says, with the help of the Ugnaught Vapor Farmer Queel, the Mandalorian learns how to tame and ride a Bluurg on the desert planet Arvala 7. So, the Mandalorian and a Bluurg. And so now that we've talked about that, let's see the star of the show, the Bluurg. So, the Bluurg is really cool. And as I said, it's basically a Build-A-Figure out of box. So the tail, body, and one of the arms are already attached, as well as the saddle. The saddle is really cool. It is removable by a button mechanism, and there is a peg hole on the bottom to lock it in place so it doesn't slide around on the Bluurg when you pose figures on it. The harness that you pull out of that little baggie, the mouth is articulated, so you just slide it in here like this, plug it down, and boom, you can sit your figure on there, hold the harness, or the saddle alone if you don't want the harness in the mouth. Its options are kind of endless on that one. When it comes to the detailing, they have a gray skin with this sort of lighter gray, whitish wash over it, which looks really good and reptilian. I love it. The belly is nicely done as well. So are the eyes, the mouth, the teeth. The detailing is absolutely spot on this guy. Articulation-wise, we have tail articulation, like a swivel joint. We have ball joint hips, which you'll see when you put it together. Single jointed, pinless, swivel hinge knee, standard, any kind of Hasbro really, ankle. When it comes to shoulders, again, standard ball joint shoulders. That's the only articulation on the arm. and then we've got the mouth itself. So the Bluurg is pretty awesome. My son was ecstatic about this. We were playing with this all day long pretty much so far. I don't think there's a moment where, this thing was not in somebody's hand. It was pretty amazing. So I would definitely recommend this set, especially if you have kids or family who are really into the Mandalorian, or you do it as a hobby together collecting. It's always fun to have new aliens, and in some ways too, if you think about the size and the scale, if you wanted to take off the saddle and the harness, you could even probably fudge it into a Black Series as a baby Bluurg or something, So it's a well worthwhile set to think about. We're having lots of fun with it here, and that's probably what counts more than anything. So, great job on this one, Hasbro, getting them out so fast as well. It's mystery to me, but no one's complaining here. So with that, we will call it on this one. Thanks for tuning in as always. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until the next one, wherever you are in this planet, we hope you're having a great weekend. We'll catch you on the next one. Please, if you have any comments, anything fun at all, we always encourage lighthearted, good conversations about collections, whatever. It's always a good time. And we thank you for tuning in as always, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody.